What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first live stream where we'll be creating an X1 validator. Now, obviously, this is a live stream, so if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're watching the recording. I'm going to give a few minutes for everyone to join in. Today's goal is simple. We're going to create the X1 validator using X1 console. And feel free to skip ahead if you're watching this at a later date. There's going to be a lot of downtime, taking our time, getting to know everyone that's part of the live stream. And what's up, CH? Good to see you. I'm glad you're looking forward to this. Me too. I'm excited. So let's set the intention today. Our goal is, and let's see if I can share my screen here. Our goal is to get on, where is it? 1 second. So by the end of this stream, our goal is to be ranked among the top validators today. So we want to get our validator on here active, and we want it to be light gray, and we want to ultimately, start producing and earning some testnet XNT. Now, guys, just a reminder for those that are new to X1. X1 is not on mainnet, it's on testnet. So this is all on testnet. We're having fun with it. I got my server ready to go. And so I'm trying to set it up. What's up, Yusuf? By the way, I'm going to get, assuming these live streams work for everyone, I'm going to get one of those, what is it, StreamYard, so I can actually pull up comments and so that I'm a noob when it comes to, let's just say I know more about X1 validators than I do streaming on YouTube. So this should be fun. So bear with me as we figure this out. Rohit, nice. Yali says X1 launched in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 more weeks. That's kind of the fun. You know, it's funny though. I've noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this on either Telegram or Twitter, where people will genuinely ask when X1 mainnet. And as a joke, we say 2 more weeks. And I even think Jack Levin says that as well. But the kicker of all of this is, you know, we know we're joking, but everyone else actually takes 2 weeks to heart. And so when 2 weeks rolls around, they get a little disappointed. But hopefully X1 is in 2 weeks. I doubt it, but all good things we must be patient for. All right, so let's jump into creating an X1 validator today. So first and foremost, let's get our checklist out here. And when I say checklist, this is everything that I would recommend before diving into attempting to create your X1 validator. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to, again, share my screen, although here it is, entire screen. All right, so checklist for today. First and foremost, we need our server. Now, there are other videos. You want the 7900X, and actually maybe real quick, I'll show you. And for the record, guys, this is going to be recorded, so you can rewatch this at a later time. I'm not going to go too heavy into which server you need. There's already a lot of good stuff out there. I do recommend, let's see, where is it? So we want the 79. So to be honest, I'm not sure where enter server. Ultimately, you need at least a 7900X for the server. If we pull up, where is it? Shout out to Blackbeard, by the way. He did quite a phenomenal job teaching me Authority Manager last night. Took me quite a bit. I'll show his X in a second. I would recommend go following him. But this is ultimately the specs you need for your server. I would recommend now getting the 4 terabytes of NVMe. You don't technically need that for testnet, but mainnet is right around the corner, so now's the time to upgrade. For today's demo, I'll be using 2. But ultimately, we got our server ready to go. We're going to be using this one today. Secondly, we got our Google Doc, the X1 Validator Google Doc that I created. This is just a step-by-step. Hopefully, if any updates need to happen, I'll go ahead and do it. I know it's been a minute since I created a validator, so we're going to have fun today going through it and seeing if we have to update anything. Third, we need X1 console. When in doubt, if for whatever reason the Google Doc's not available, I mean, everything's already here. Blackbeard, again, did a phenomenal job on this, really put in a ton of effort, answers all your questions, which is pretty cool. So we got that. We need Telegram. I would recommend being on the X1 Validator Knowledge Telegram group. So during this demo, you believe that if we get stuck, I will surely be messaging in here to hopefully get some answers. And I'm sure you guys will be on there as well. So we got Telegram. 5, I use ChatGPT, but ultimately, I would recommend some sort of AI. It saved me multiple times trying to create a validator. I get stuck, or when I was doing the authority manager and Blackbeard was helping me, there were times that I was also using AI to kind of figure out, and actually helped me figure out what the problem was ultimately. So recommend that. And number 6, terminal. I'm using Mac, right? So Mac has a terminal. You can easily get a terminal. They're pretty easy to get. It's just a way for us to interact and to provide commands and tell the computer what to do. So what we'll be doing with terminal is we'll be logging in. So by default, when you open up terminal, it's on your local machine. But what we'll be doing today is we will be logging into a server remotely, which is pretty cool, and having fun with it. And then finally, guys, last but not least, I recommend having notes up. This is mostly for being able to copy your public keys down. I'll even show you if you want today, get your private keys as well, but we have that ready. So that's it, guys. I think we are ready to go. Again, we're going to be taking our time. Quick disclaimer, guys, I am dangerous enough to create an X1 validator. My goal is to get you guys up onto getting your X1 validator live. I am by no means the smartest guy in the room when it comes to this. There are a lot smarter people when it comes to this. They're all hanging out in the Telegram, which is why you should, if you get stuck, go to X1 Validator Knowledge. I'll try my best to help you, but 9 out of 10 times there's someone there that has a better answer. So keep that in mind as a resource. And again, this is just experimental. There might be things that, I'm learning as well. So as I go through this, I might get stuck. And so on this stream, I will use whatever resource and tools available to ultimately get to where we want to get to. And let's have fun with this, guys. The whole point of this is, X1 mainnet's around the corner. As you guys know, the reason why this is important is because for multiple reasons, but one of the big ones is being an early validator to something like this. Not only could be financially profitable, but it's also, you're ahead of the game. You're getting started, and so kudos to you if you're here. Look, this isn't hard, but it's not easy either. So give yourself some grace as you go through this. It's fun. I promote these videos and I get them out there. I'm like, look how easy it is to create an X1 validator. But the truth is, it took me hours just to get the first one. I was, before X1 console was up, I was trying to figure it out and realize, man, this stuff isn't that easy. But you don't have to be technical to figure this out. I think you just need a base knowledge. You need to take your time. When in doubt, ask questions. Don't share your private keys, right? And find somebody who knows more than you do to kind of help guide you. All right. So with that said, I'm going to jump right in. Now, before I do that, I just wanted the comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. Shaka says, do you know once it launches, will we have to just do a quick update from our test validators, or do we need to start over and build them again? So personally, I'm going to be starting fresh, and that way, one, probably because in other videos I shared my private keys already, because these are just for fun. These are just fun servers that I'm getting out there. So I would recommend starting fresh. But I don't know. I would recommend asking in the X1 Validator group. Cool, cool. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's get our validator up and running. By the way, any questions at the end? So after we set up the validator, get it running. My desk setup isn't that great, so I'm going to have to improve on it, but I'll take questions at the end just because it's going to be hard to read the comments halfway through. All right, let's get rolling. So I'm going to share my screen again. All right, we're just going to follow the instructions here. So first and foremost, let's log into our server. Where is our server? Here's the IP address. I'm going to copy this. We're going to type in SSH root and then the server. Now, guys, so you do SSH root and then the server, obviously. It's when this is the first time you're logging into your server, you're going to get something that looks like this, where it asks for a fingerprint. I don't know what it actually means, but you just type in yes. And then it's going to prompt you for the password. So I, for the sake of this live stream, wanted to make sure the server worked before we actually did a live stream. And so I just wanted to make sure it was good to go. But you would see that. Then you type in your password. Hopefully I remembered it. All right, guys, now we're logged in. You can see root at server 2. That's how you know you're logged in. And here we go. Let's just go down the instructions. So we're going to create a new user, right? We can't use root for multiple reasons, but the main one is because X1 console won't allow you to use root. It's also bad practice to stay logged into root. So we're going to create a new user called admin2. New password. What should let's see. One second. All right, and then you could just return. You don't have to actually put in your stuff here. Is this information correct? Capital Y for yes. All right, so we created a new user called admin2. Now what we're going to do is we are going to log in to that admin2. So putting in this command, and you know you're logged into admin2 because it says admin2 now. All right, now for the fun stuff. We're going to copy paste. We're going to use X1 console. Again, shout out to Blackbeard. So we're going to copy this. Okay, then we're going to go down and we're actually going to start the console. Cool. So now what we're going to do, again, I'm just following the instructions. We're going to go to option 10. So for other, and then we're going to go to install and start X1 Validator. Now, if you guys haven't guessed, I do have, spoiler alert, I do have some people behind the scenes helping me out here today. This one's named Amber. Give me 1 second. Let me go see if she'll calm down here, actually, if I just rub her. All right, so we're going to install it. So number 1, do you have an existing X1 Validator? No, we do not. So we're going to type in no. All right, then we're going to have to put in our password again and give that a second. Do you want to continue? Yes. So when in doubt, guys, keep it simple. If it asks you to continue, if it asks you if you have wallets, no, you don't have wallets unless you do, right? So we'll keep it super simple. Give that a few minutes. How's everyone's weekend going so far? Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I appreciate you spending the time today going over this with me, especially on your weekend. All the more reason it's going to be fun to get our X1 validator up. While that's going, make sure to give Blackbeard some love. This is his X handle, Blackbeard _ X1. Cool. All right, let's, oops, sorry. Let's move that out of the way. So not sure what this is, but we're just going to hit return. I have no idea. Just when in doubt, hit enter. Guys, I'm just coming at this as a completely new user. No idea what that means, but we're just going to hit OK. You know, I would encourage everyone when stuff like this happens, sometimes you just got to tinker around with it, see what happens. All right, so configuring firewall, and hopefully you guys can see this. Let's make sure it's bigger just in case. Move it up slightly. All right, so yes, we do want to allow. So why? All right. So far, everything appears to be normal. All right, so now, yeah, so it's still extracting. I often forget to do this part, so don't be like me and forget. But at the end, you see this right here. I think it'll pop up again, and it's also on the here as well on the Google Doc. I always forget to do this, but after we do this, we need to go back and to put that in outside of X1 console. All right, so let's just confirm. Welcome to Rust, yada, yada. It's always good to just read this just to make sure there's nothing we're forgetting. So we're just going to hit enter for proceed. So just hit enter. So again, just hit enter. So it's funny, the first time I created an X1 validator, I didn't get those pink screen, I don't believe. I mean, it's been a minute, but at least not twice. So I'm not sure what it is, what it means. But at the end of the day, as long as we get our X1 validator up and it's nothing bad, then we should be good. So we'll give this some time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick just to check on the comments. So X1 launch in 2 months. I could see that. I love the joke because it will expose the patient one. Ante says, thank you. Shaka, do you know once it launches, will we have to do just a quick update from our test? Oh, yeah, I already read these comments. Apologies. Yeah, so the other, let me go move the dog outside real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, so other responsibilities. Well, I mean, really, you want to make sure everything's up and running all the time, if possible, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I would say make sure your validator's running, make sure it's working correctly. When there's updates, make sure you actually update, right? So, like, I think we're at 0.25. I'm not even sure. Let's see. We're at version 2.0.25, right? So just make sure you update to the latest one. Obviously, this is an opinion, but I always say, hey, yeah, if you're a validator, that means you have some knowledge, at least getting to you enough knowledge to get you to a validator. So if other people need help, make sure you're on the Telegram and helping others try to get theirs set up. So that's what I would recommend. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen again. Move this out. All right, so as you can see, it takes a few minutes, right? So we're almost there. We're getting Solana right now. And it looks like it's about to finish. All right, so here we go. Now the fun stuff. So we got our wallets, as you can see. And don't worry about necessarily copying this now. I might just do it just so we have it. But as you can see, we got our public keys. I'll show you at a later time. We also, the seed phrase, right? So we got all this stuff. Again, you guys don't want to be sharing this with anyone. This is just a fun test server. So, it doesn't really matter for this example. But if you want, you can copy this. I'm going to go to our notes and paste it just so we have it. Wallets will be saved in wallets.json. Yep, sounds good. All right, so before proceeding, you need to manually fund your ID wallet using the faucet link. So Blackbeard did a great job of having all this. So what we need to do is we're going to copy paste this link here. So this is the faucet. In case you guys don't know what a faucet is, it allows you to quickly get some testnet tokens, in this case, XNT. And then we're going to go back. So we need to fund it. So we're going to go ahead and fund this. Oops. I'm not a robot. At least I don't think I am. Oh, I hate these. I never get these right. Like a bus. So like, for example, do I click this? Maybe you guys know the answer. Is this part of the bus, this square? I'm going to assume so. All right, maybe not. Oh my gosh. All right, maybe I'm being too optimistic here. Oh, I love this. All right, cars. All right, we did it, guys. We can set up validators, but we can't get past the bot or past this. Did it work? Transaction confirmed. All right, sweet. So now we're going to go back to, that was fun. All right, so we funded it, and we're going to hit enter. All right, and we're going to just give it some time. So guys, just as a reminder, this live stream, my videos, they're really geared more towards just helping you get to the end goal, which is getting your validators. I would recommend, once you get your validator set up, to go back and really learn and to study. I mean, there's a lot of detailed information. I always take my approach has always been, whether validators or in life, I like to jump into something, right? Like, so for example, back in 2016, I heard of crypto or heard of Bitcoin, decided to invest. Then I started actually going to study what Bitcoin was and smart contracts and Ethereum, right? So I again, everyone has a different opinion, but I would recommend, let's get you, at least show you what success looks like in getting a validator, and then you can go back to start understanding, right? Because there might be things you need to figure out in order to fix the validator. But it's hard to even think that far ahead when you don't have the validator to be set up with. So again, my videos are really designed for the non-technical individual like myself who just they just want to participate and are open to learning along the way. All right, so let's see. So attempting to execute. All right. So it says allowing time for snapshot download to complete. So guys, another thing, how you know it it's still thinking in this case, right? You see how it might be hard to see, but right around here, it's just nothing's there except for this little like rectangular box. That's how you know that it's still working. If for whatever reason it gets hung up, right? All right. And if it does get hung up too long, you could either try to hit the enter or close out and reopen it. But let's see, starting the validator now. Guys, so far, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's been pretty easy. Knock on wood. Hopefully, we actually get the validator up and running. But so far, I mean, it's basically a few copy paste and then that's it. So it says, please wait 1 to 2 minutes approximately, allowing time for console to sync with the blockchain. So this is important, guys. Occasionally, and this has happened to me in the past, where I start this up, I think it's working, but then for whatever reason, the snapshot isn't working, right? To no fault of our own, it just doesn't catch up or something happens. So what I would recommend to do, and I'll show you to make sure everything's running correctly after this, but what I would recommend that we do is when in doubt, I would say clear the validator logs, clear and delete the ledger, and then do the health check and start the validator. And you might have to do it maybe 2 to 3 times. Hopefully not. I mean, usually it works the first time, if not usually the second time. But again, if for whatever reason, I'm not just talking about initially when we set up the validator, but also if for whatever reason your validator becomes delinquent, meaning it's not producing, then that might be the best course, is to stop the validator, clear/delete the logs, clear/delete the ledger. And this is all done through the X1 console, which is pretty cool. So I think we're good. I'm not sure if I need to necessarily wait 1 to 2 minutes. Let me go back to the comments, check in. X1 launch in April 2025 by Santosh. Cool. This video is uploaded in YouTube channel. Cool. Rocket. Yeah. Cool. Sweet, guys. Well, by all means, if you have any questions, pop them down in the comments. And I'll be sure to either answer them now or at the end of the stream. So question for you guys, though. How many of you that are watching right now have a validator up, or are you still trying to get one? I'm curious. And also, let's go back to, okay, let me share my screen again. Open this up, open the terminal. All right, so it was 1 to 2 minutes. Now it says validator started successfully. All right, so now let's go see if it actually started. So I hit enter there. Now, and as you can see, guys, we have the wallet addresses here. You can copy paste that. There's other ways that we can go about getting them as well. And it looks like, let's see. So what we're going to do here, let's go see if it actually is working. So I hit 7 to basically go back to the main menu. Now it says delinquent. That might be for a couple different reasons. I think it's fine. It might take some time for the blockchain to get caught up, right? But let's go see where we're at. So first, what I would recommend after you get to this part is I would hit number 2 for validator. And then let's show the logs, number 3. Yeah, so as you guys can see, it's downloading right now. We're at 81%. So we're going to have to give it some time to get caught up. And while that's happening, let's get out of here. Let's refresh this page. Out of curiosity, what is our... So just you can hit any key to stop the logs and then enter. So let's go find our identity wallet. All right, so identity. See this one right here? Starts with CZFS. So now let's go to here. In theory, we should at some point get on this list if we just wait a second. See? All right, what was it again? 1 second. Oh, guys, and did I forget to tell you about this too? So if this is your first installation, I told you I would forget. If this is your first installation, please copy the following. So I'm going to copy this. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I always forget this. So what we're going to do while this is downloading anyways, we're going to hit 5 for exit, this menu, hit any key, comes back to the main menu. We're going to do 11 for exit. And now we're here. I'm not sure if we have to, if this matters or not, but I like to do CD just to get back. So when you do CD, I don't know what it means exactly, but you see how it shows like the little squiggly line in an X1 console right here. So by doing, it's like we're in that directory, I believe. So we hit CD and now we get out of that. And then we're just going to paste this in here. And that's it. If we want to get back into X1 console, so a couple ways from this screen, you could just hit the up arrow until you find, actually, no, let's not do it that way. So it's in the directions. I already remembered it, but we'll do X1 console, CD space X1 console, and then we'll do period this X1 console.sh, and then it should pop up. That's, by the way, is in the tutorial here, right here, right? So like you could either do it the way I just did it, or you could just copy paste it, start up X1 Validator again. And when you do log in, remember, you're not logging into root, you're logging into admin 2. You don't have to log into root anymore. And then this is how, again, you start it up. This is just kind of a breakdown as to what everything means on the dashboard, right? Is it running? Is it delinquent? We want it to say active. Autopilot, I think we should turn on, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Your identity key is how you can find it. So like ours is, and I'll show you in a second. Let's see right here. So you see this? So one way to identify, there's 2 ways actually, maybe even 3, but for the sake of simplicity, you can just kind of memorize this, or at least the first parts of it. And then when you go here, we're going to look under basically to see if it's showing up. Oh, here it is, guys. So as you can see, we're halfway there. We made it on the list, but it's in dark gray, right? That's not what we want. We want it to be light gray. That means we're actually producing. Another way to know it's yours is you just look at to make sure it's your IP address. So like 205.209.117.238, right? It's the same one. So that's how you know. And of course, you have the dashboard as well. Again, it says delinquent. We already know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Validator. And if you guys haven't guessed already, all we're doing is just giving ourselves some time to let everything kind of fall into place. We're not actually doing anything. So this is what I think it's looking good. Whenever I joked around the other day, whenever you see spam in the logs, that's at least in this case. But let's see, if you're really curious, what you could do is, roll up a little bit, copy some of this. Again, I'm not sure. You got to be careful. This might not actually, or my validator logs looking okay. I'm not sure what this is going to say, but your logs look mostly healthy. Okay, networking looks good. So overall, I think it's fine so far. Like what the biggest risk is it's not catching up. And if that's the case, then yeah. Like, for example, you see how it says meaning your validator is keeping up with consensus, right? So vote processing is happening, right? Again, you don't have to really remember this, but it's just good to know. One thing I'm not sure if it works or not, but let's go to number 10 for other, and then let's go to pinger. Usually pinger kind of kicks in. I think it kicks in once everything's caught up and we're actually producing. So let's go to ping times. Oh no. So as you can see, anything greater than 0 is good. So guys, I think it's just a matter of time before it actually shows up. But let's make sure. So while we're waiting, what I'll do, let me just refresh this. Yep, still delinquent, so we'll still wait. All right, so while we're waiting, allowing that to catch up, what I'll do now, if it's all right with you guys, is I'll kind of go over just a couple of housekeeping when it comes to X1 console. And again, like either on the Google Doc or Blackbeard actually probably has a better screenshots you can look at to kind of understand this. But what we'll do is let's go have some fun and see. So again, quiz for you guys. What happens if this isn't working? Let's just say it stays in delinquent for another 10 to 15 minutes. What do we do? I'll give you guys a second to think about it. So if your guess is we need to stop the validator, clear/delete the logs, clear/delete the ledger, and then do the health check and start the validator, you're correct. And at least for the first line of defense. If it happens after 3 times of doing that, then I would recommend going to the Telegram. So for example, like let's say we wanted to, I'm not going to do it, but we're going to say we want to stop the validator. We would hit number 2 for validator. And then you can see, do we want to stop or start/restart, stop, show logs, etc., delete logs, right? So we would stop it. We would delete the logs from this menu. And then let's go back, hit enter again. And then to get to ledger, if you go to number 10 for other, when in doubt, if you don't see your option here, you can go to number 10. And then we'll do, what are we doing here? Pinger, number 5. And then we could, oh, I'm sorry, not pinger. What am I talking about? Let's go to, why am I having, oh, I'm sorry. It was on the main, number 7, ledger. And then we can remove the ledger. And that kind of just wipes everything clean. And then we would go ahead back to the main menu. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Back to the main menu and then start it back up. So that's it, guys. Let's see if we want to, let's go through each one. So check balances, number 3. This is also important. So like, let's say it is delinquent, right? Maybe there's something missing balance-wise. So the wallet, we got some in the, or I'm sorry, the identity, or I'm sorry, let's start with the ID here. So we got some in each one, which is good. Now let's go to manage stake, number 5. All right. So active stake. So we do have an active stake, which is great. This wouldn't work I don't believe if we didn't have a stake. But you can activate the stake, deactivate the stake. Yeah, I'll let you guys play around with this. It's kind of fun to just go through each one. I won't go through every one today. And let's see. Let's go back to checking the logs to see. So validator and then number 3 for show logs. Just making sure that it's actually keeping up. Because it does seem a little weird that it's still delinquent. I don't know if that's my impatience or if it's anything else. So I'm not sure. So guys, for fun, let's just see what would happen if we went to number 5. So let's exit. What I'd like to do now is I would like to stop the validator. Let's go through that process where we clear and delete everything and then start it again to see if that does anything. So what we'll do is we'll go to number 2. We're going to do stop validator, number 2. Hit any key. Then we're going to delete the logs, number 4. And then let's exit out of here. And then let's go to number 7 for ledger. And we're going to remove the ledger, number 2. Are you sure you wish to remove it? Y for yes. It's been removed. Now let's do number 1, health check and start the validator. And let's see if that does anything. So as you guys can see, right, like we're kind of in this limbo stage right now where it on paper should be working. For whatever reason, I'm not sure if it's because we have to give it more time, but like, you know, I think the logs looked okay. We had a stake, the accounts were funded, Pinger was working, right? Like everything seemed to work on paper. So my guess is maybe there's something goofy with the snapshot. I'm not sure. So in that case, what we'll do is we'll just try to start it back up, see what happens. All right, while that's going, let's do this one more time. It probably wouldn't show active right away. As again, we're right here. Once we get this live, the last thing we'll do to finish this off is we will change our names. So like everyone's got some cool names, I feel like, right? So we can go ahead and change that to make it whatever we want. Get an image. I will say if you guys do want an image, I would recommend using Image Shack. It was actually ImageShack, I think, .com. And you can upload an image here, and then it will ask you on terminal to provide a URL. This is just like a way to upload. As a kid, funny story, I remember Image Shack, and I used to use it a lot as a kid. So it's kind of funny. Fast forward, Jack Levin created this. Who would have thought that it would have gone full circle where now we're participating with X1. I wonder if you guys had any experience with Image Shack as well. All right, let's go back to here. Sometimes you see like connection refused. You know, I'm not sure if it actually is a problem or not. Like, for example, the other day I helped someone create their X1 validator and I got that error, connection refused. And then it'll be like, at the end, it'll say successful. And I'm like, wait, but it just kept saying connection refused. So don't worry if you see any sort of errors. Like, again, when in doubt, let's look at the logs, the validator logs, and so forth, and see what happens. So while that's going, I'm going to go and check on the comments. All right, let's see. So CH, do we need to buy Zen or XNT to run a validator? So technically, well, no. So you need XNT. Zen is what you need to use to participate in the Moon Party to get XNT, right? You need to burn your Zen to get XNT. XNT is the native token on X1, or will be the native token. So hopefully that answered your question. We're talking everything about XNT and X1. And then to get XNT, you'll need to burn Zen. And there's Zens on all different chains, right? Let's see what else. Ooh, Shaka says, I have one validator up, may do a second. Not sure if I should do now or just wait until launch. I will say this. So before doing this live stream, I got a second server. It took longer than expected to get that second server. And so just be mindful. I'm not sure, especially when X1 mainnet comes out, maybe things get backed up, but I can already tell you now, just be mindful. It can be delayed. So not saying necessarily to get one now, but just know that it takes a second sometimes to get one set up. CD, Cheka just taught me CD equals change directory. Cool. Didn't know that. Makes sense though. And I'm assuming CD change directory means that we can actually change it to what it was before. So like if we were in a directory, we're changing it one, I guess, tier back, if that makes sense. Yosef, by the way, you can see how it's catching up by running Solana catch-up. Okay, so let's try this. What's this? So Solana catch-up, our local host. let's go for fun. Actually, let me go share my screen real quick. 1 second. Entire screen. Sorry that you see a zillion layers of me. Let's go pull this up. All right, so it says failed for catch-up attempts, however, validator is running. So let's go back. Let's look at validator number 2, show logs number 3. Yeah, so I think it's having errors again with catching up. Let's see, I'm just looking at this, right? Like, as you can see, it's like 99% done here, but then it just craps out. So as you guys can see, right, like there's nothing we can do. Like we're going through the process. What we do is I think we just have to try again. Let's stop it. Let's delete the logs. Number 4. Let's delete the ledger. Where's the ledger? Number 7. Remove the ledger. Number 2. Y for yes. All right. And then let's try something different. Let's try number 10 and then do the install start X1 again, just to see if that does anything. Yes, we already do. Yes, we did, even though I technically don't think we did. Let's try this, see if it works. I almost forgot my password for a second. This might take a little longer, but that's okay. I'm just curious to see if it does anything different. So this goes to show you guys that, right, like you have a plan. What's that saying when you get punched? Like you have a plan until you get punched. Basically, it's like, okay, we followed the process. We're following the actions. We're doing all the right things for the most part, but yet it's still not working. So like, and it's not working because it's having trouble catching up, most likely. So if that's the case, we just kind of have to play around with it to see, what would work. Like this might be overkill what I'm doing. We're like, right, like we're installing it again. I don't think it's even necessary. But let's just see what happens. I think most likely we could just try again until it snapshots. I will say though, once it gets rolling, then the good news is that good to go. So we'll give that a couple minutes. I'm going to go back to the comments. Can we buy XNT now? All right, sorry, let me go back a second. Yeah, I'll show you how to change the validator icon. I had to activate the stake under manage stake, or how I had to activate this. Oh, okay. So maybe we had to activate. All right, maybe I'll try that as the next plan of action. Can we buy XNT now? No, we can't. So keep an eye out for official announcements from the X1 Foundation or Jack Levin. Rolando, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate the feedback from you. I know you like the tweets a lot and the videos, so much appreciated. All right, let's go back to show screen, entire screen. So that's our next plan of attack here. If this doesn't work, then what we'll do is we'll see if activating the stake could work. But that's the name of the game, guys. If you really want to know the truth when it comes to these validators, it's like, again, like we have a plan, but 9 out of 10 times something happens, or right, like there's some small detail you missed and then it just doesn't work. So we just got to keep playing around with it. So out of curiosity, yeah. So the good news is I just wanted to double check because we're doing this process. It didn't create a whole new one. As you can see, this one matches this one. It's already funded. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Let's see if this works. If this doesn't work, then we'll try the activate stake. But yeah, guys, hopefully X1 mainnet is soon. That would be fun. I'm also curious about not to talk about Zen price. It will be fun, though, to understand the ratios between all the different Zens, right? Like, are they going to, right now, they're all different markets, right? But once the moon party happens now, and assuming that we can use any Zen, which we should be able to, like, there's going to create arbitrage opportunities where it makes more sense to burn Zen on Ethereum than it does OP Zen or CB Zen or any of that. So it will be kind of fun to see what happens, if anything. I figured it's a win-win. Either we get more XNT. Yeah, I guess it's a win regardless. All right, so let's give it some time to complete, see what happens. And I think if I just hit enter, oh no, see, that was an example. It's like thinking right now and it doesn't let me do anything. So we'll just give it some time. Give that a second. All right. Okay, so this is interesting. Error delegating stake. All right, so let's see if that means anything, but give it some time. So we'll give 1 to 2 minutes. So guys, just to take a step back and just to clarify what we're doing here. So at the end of the day, we followed the instructions. It's installed, it's going for the most part, but it's showing delinquent. There's only a few reasons why it's showing delinquent. Either the validator isn't catching up, right? Like it's not getting the snapshot correctly or in time. So it's like lagging behind. It might be because our wallets aren't well funded enough. It might be because we have to activate the stake, right? So there's only a few reasons why it's not working. And so what we're doing now is we are troubleshooting, which isn't taking a lot of effort, right? Like we're just trying different things. We're trying to restart it again. Like sometimes it works on the second or third time, sometimes it doesn't. So I would recommend doing this before going to the Telegram just to see if it works. So we'll wait 1 to 2 minutes. But you can see why people get frustrated when setting up these validators, which is why you have to kind of give yourself more patience, right? All right, so let's try, not saying this would actually do anything, but let's log out, log back in, get my server again. And by the way, oh, what is my password? And then if you didn't want to, so where is it? It's on here somewhere. Just going to copy paste this. Voila. Oh my gosh, guys. Look at that. Active. Very exciting. I think there's a way I can throw some confetti out there. So let's confirm. So first we're going to go to number 2 for validator. We're going to show the logs. Beautiful. Spam. That's how you know it's working. So we're going to hit any key to get out. We're going to hit 5 for exit. You know, it's funny. I already have a validator up, but even setting up a second one, it's euphoric when you get it working, especially, I guess, if you're live streaming. What we'll do is we'll also go back, refresh this. This will really make our day. Guys, you see this? It's light gray, so that means it's working. We got pings. We are officially a validator. Congratulations. Super exciting. So now, for the real fun stuff, let's change our name. So we're going to go back to sorry, 1 second. I'm just looking to see here. Let's go to publish validator, number 9. So publish validator allows you to actually change your name. So what should our validator name be? First one to write in the comments what our validator name is will be added. So I'll go ahead and look. All right. Looks like it's going to be more time. Okay. How about, I like what Yosef said. It just needed a little more time. Guys, patience is very important. And as such, I think it's only appropriate to name our validator more time. Or no, or should it be patience? Probably patience. So let's call it patience. So the URL, I think that's just your website. To be honest, do you guys even know what the web URL actually does? Like, does it actually lead to anything? I know the icon does. Let's see. Do I have any? Oh gosh. Do I have an image? Oh, this is fun. Let's see. So guys, this is Image Shack, right? So if you want to get an icon, you could just post it, like get an account. It's funny. I don't think I'm paying for this, so I'm not sure. It says my 30-day trial ended. So I think if you just get a 30-day trial, make sure you don't put in your credit card or cancel it, right? Then I think you can just keep whatever images you had. So we're going to do direct. So click this. Or actually, no, let's do this one. This one's brighter. Direct. And then let's go back to here. Okay, so yeah, I wouldn't worry. You don't have to necessarily put a web URL. So let's see if that worked. I'm not even sure if it actually worked. Let's try it again without the, I'm not sure if it worked or not, but instead of, so let's do number, what is it, 9 for publish validator. Patience. Skip that. Paste this. Give it a second. It's thinking. All right. Validator info published. This does take a few minutes to do. So let's see if I refresh. Guys, this is exciting. Congratulations. So we're right here. So obviously it hasn't updated yet. You can see the version we have right here. While we're waiting for that to update, what else can we do? Let's set the commissions to 100%. It's currently at 10%. Cool. So now this should also reflect 100% in a few minutes. Let's see, any other fun stuff? I mean, that's about it. Again, if we want to check balances. Ooh, I got something to show you guys. Let's figure out how do we get our private keys. I think that will be fun. So I'll get that ready real quick. If you scrolled, I think I have it in the FAQ. Yeah. Okay. How to get your private keys. Now, again, guys, this is, I know I sound like a broken record player. And I know you guys already know not to share your private keys. This is demo purposes. This is just a fun server I'm on. I wouldn't really ever share this with anyone. but for your own education, we're going to get the private keys that you should store somewhere else. Guys, after this live stream is finished too, I'm going to create, well, first I'm going to just make sure I understand Authority Manager. So security is extremely important with these validators, especially on mainnet. It took me a second to figure out the best way to secure the validator. And there's multiple ways to, I joke, there's multiple ways to skin a Zen cat, right? So in our case, what the next video is going to be, and it's going to be, again, more formal and polished up. It's going to be showing you how to get, basically, to change the wallet. What is it? The wallet authority? Yeah, the authority to change it over to like either a ledger or a local, on your machine, keeping it local. So if somebody, a bad actor, figures out how to log into your server, they can't steal your funds because it's stored, right? Like the authority is stored on either a ledger or local. So I'll show you. That will be a follow-up video. I don't want to do it live because I know I'll mess something up, and I'd rather just get it right and give you guys the right information. All right, so let's get the private key real quick. So what we'll do is we're going to exit out of here. We're going to change directory back here. So first and foremost, we're going to go find. So I'm going to do vote as the first one, right? So there's multiple. You got, what is it? We got, let's see. So we got ID, we got identity.json, right? We got vote, and we got stake. So what is that for, right? So let's start with vote. I'm only going to do one just so you get the idea. So we're going to find the directory. Here it is. We're going to copy this. And then all we're going to do is type in cat space and then this. And there you go, guys. There's your private key. So you'll want to, what I would recommend doing, again, everyone's got different opinions on this. But for this demo, I'm just going to copy it. And then I'm going to make sure I associate it with vote, right? I know we have the seed phrase, so it probably doesn't really matter, but that's how you get the private key. And then you'll do it for the next one, right? So like you could do, and actually you don't even have to, like if we go back, right? If you hit the up arrow, it pops up, and then I can change it to ID dot this one, JSON. There's the private key for that one. And you can copy paste this one. It's that simple, guys. The instructions are already here in the Google Doc. And again, this is going to be important for when we do Authority Manager to change the wallet authority. Actually, let me just go check to see. Is it called the wallet authority? Blackbeard, if you're watching this, is it called, when you say WA? Oh, withdrawal authority. Excuse me. Yes. Every time. So funny joke. So Blackbeard and I were having a conversation. He kept saying WA, right? Like, and I'm thinking WhatsApp, you know, but yeah, it's withdrawal authority, which makes sense. So I'll create a separate video after that. Cool, guys. All right, let's go. So that's how you get your private keys. Hopefully that is pretty straightforward. Let's go back into let's go to X1 Val to see if our stuff updated. Did it not update yet? All right, so here's patience. So that's cool, right? I'm not sure why our picture is not updating. That usually takes a second, though. Let me try doing a hard refresh. I do know that picture usually takes longer. I don't know. You might have to mess around with it. What I could do, though, is copy paste this. If you guys haven't figured it out already, patience is key, right? Like even the uploading of the image on the website takes a second. So But as you can see, if we scroll down, so our name changed, which is awesome. And then we have 100% commission. You can change that as well. Cool. Let me go ahead and stop sharing screen. See if there's any questions. But congratulations, guys. Again, we created our X1 validator. It was pretty easy, I think. Yes, required a little bit of troubleshooting and patience, but ultimately, here we are. I would say if for whatever reason you are, after going through the process, if like you're still getting stuck, it's been 30 minutes to an hour after waiting, it's still like you're going through the same methods and troubleshooting, that's when I would go on to the X1 Validator group on Telegram and kind of assess the situation. All right, let's see. Give me a second. I'm going to scroll up here. Let's see. How many? I used your tutorial, and after installing the validator, I had to stop him and had to remove the ledger, then had to yep, perfect, how to. And then after exiting and reconnecting to the server, I started validating and finally worked. Yep. So again, we're just kind of having, that's the troubleshooting. But the good news is, guys, like I think for newcomers, this is why it's so important. I think the other question I remember earlier was like, what can we do as validators? Part of that is educating others, right? Like, hopefully, for those that are new here that haven't started a validator, you can see that like all we're doing is we're following the steps. And yes, it might show delinquency, but like all we need to do is just try to, clear the ledger, clear the logs, and start again, and then give it some time, patience. And then that should work, right? Maybe we have to activate stake, but there's only like 2 to 3 things we can do, which is great, especially if you're armed with that knowledge now, knowing that, you're, because I know the feeling, guys, man. It sucks when you go follow the steps and then it just doesn't work, and you're like, I'm spending $153 a month on a server that I don't even use because I can't figure out something that should be straightforward. And everyone else, like, you feel the FOMO when you go into the X1 validator group of people saying they have their validator up and running, and all they had to do is like hit enter and it worked. And you're like, wait, but like that's not working for me. So I get it. So bottom line, now that you guys are X1 validators, we have to continually educate each other and to keep learning. Like I learned something new today. CD means change directory. That's freaking cool. So now I know what that actually means. Let's see. Can you clarify how validators get picked? Is it more XNT we stake, the more we compute? So therefore, okay. I don't know the details of this. This is probably more for the X1 validator group. I will say this though. One thing that excites me about X1 is that, so with Solana, if you want to become a validator, in simple terms, the rich get richer. And I don't know if you guys remember EOS or EOS. I mean, it's still around, I think, but I used to be heavily involved in that community. And I remember, I think, Jack Levin is watching this, which I doubt he is, but if he was watching this, he would know more about this. But I'm pretty sure it worked the same way, where like those that had more staked earned more. So what would happen is these validators, or block producers, I think they were called at the time for EOS, what like they're doing is they're just earning fees, and then they just reinvest back into it to further solidify their position. So now there's no incentive for people like you and I to get in, because what's the point? Like the rich get rich. Like there's no chance, So whereas X1 removed that hurdle, and now that's the reason why Jack Levin wants 10,000 validators in the first year. It's because no longer is it what I think is unfair. And talking about the Nakamoto coefficient, right? Like, so how many, I guess, validators would you have to take down to control the network? I think that's what the Nakamoto coefficient is. It's going to be extremely more lucrative and better on X1 than Solana, which I think is like 19 or something. So that means all you got to do, you're telling me all it takes is to take 19 Solana validators down, and now you have a problem. Like, it doesn't make sense. And on top of that, there's again no new incentive to get people to participate. So yeah, so that was the long answer to that. I don't know exactly, like for the case of X1, how they get picked, to be honest. I should go study that more. I think it has to do with like the leader gets it and then he distributes it. I'm not sure. That's beyond me. But bottom line though is that the more XNT, I mean, obviously if you stake more XNT, you'll earn more, right? Like, but you'll still be earning the same rate for the most part. But it's not like like other people, by them having a higher stake, they're necessarily taking away from you, if that makes sense. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. So also give it some time to run, and when you get errors, don't delete your ledger immediately. Actually look at the errors, and so that's good too. I've actually never looked at so let me share my screen real quick. And I know we're over an hour, guys, so I might skedaddle here shortly. But let's go to oops, sorry. I'm going to go try to, I don't think I've ever actually looked at the logs. By the way, cool little trick, if you do the and symbol, you can basically not have to hit enter first. So it like does it all in one go. All right, so let's go look at ledger number 7 and then monitor number 1. Cool. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bigger. So it shows identity, Genesis hash, version 2. You're not exactly sure what it means, but it looks good. So I see the slot is here. The confirm slot is there, so they should match. It looks like they match. All right. Cool. Pretty neat. Yeah, guys, I would recommend just playing around with this stuff. Oh, let's turn on autopilot real quick. So my understanding of autopilot, and I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure like if it, for whatever reason, your server goes down briefly and goes back up, autopilot should kick back on, I believe. I'll have to get back to you guys on exactly how that works, right? Like I know in certain situations it wouldn't work, but when in doubt, keep autopilot on. So let's turn on autopilot. Number 3. So 10 and then 3 for autopilot. Turn on autopilot. All right, autopilot is on. Cool. And you can see autopilot here. Now, guys, I won't get into it today, but the current set withdrawal, as you can see, it's id.json. So if you guys want to try to figure out the password to my server here, in theory, once you're in, you could gain access to funds, which isn't good. So in a follow-up video, I'm going to create how authority manager works. So if I go to number 10 here and then authority manager number 4, like what we're going to do, so you can see the withdrawal authority. We're going to change this to either for the demo, I might just do it local, but you can change it. And when I say local, I mean we're going to change it to having it local, like on the local machine. So, right, like unless somebody physically had your laptop. And even better, we could use a ledger as well. It's easy. So Blackbeard did a great job with getting it set up on here. I think the hard part, at least what took me hours to figure out, is like a couple things. One, I don't have, so it only works if you're using Ubuntu. So I'm on a MacBook, right? So we need to use a virtual machine. So a virtual machine allows you to, in essence, get it Ubuntu and to, right, like log in using your computer's resources. So I got that. But then the question is like, which one do you use? And like I couldn't, like I got one, but I couldn't like copy paste. So I can't, like, even though I got the virtual machine working, yeah. So long story short, there was a steep learning curve for me at least. Um, and like another thing that happened, it was because I'm using, what is it, ARM? Or I'm sorry, because I'm on a MacBook with the M series chip, right? Like the newer MacBooks. Like the only way you can get, I'm going to botch this, but long story short, I needed to get ARM 64. I don't know what that means. ChatGPT told me. Um, and again, it's only because, so like when I was installing X1 console, I wasn't able, like it wasn't downloading Solana, which is pivotal. Like you need Solana, right? But it's because I was on an M series chip MacBook. And so what I needed to do is like download the source of Solana, and then that allowed it to be compatible. And then I had to change the RPC to X1 testnet. Long story short, it took me freaking hours. And again, Blackbeard, thank you so much for the helping me out. I swear he'd say he'd go to sleep and then wake up to like 50 messages from me with, pictures of me trying to get it through. So finally we got it sorted out. I'm going to try it one more time, either tonight or tomorrow when I got some fresh eyes. But yeah, it was fun. Let's go back to the comments real quick, and then we'll wrap up here. Yes, when I got, so Rolando said, yes, when I got mine running, it was extremely, yeah, the feeling, man. It's a good feeling, right? Because like it kind of puts you in another, this might sound silly, but like it puts you in another class almost. Like you went from like a non-technical individual, and we might still be non-technical, but at least we got to getting our validator, and realize like, hey, we're part of the group, like we're part of the team now, which is pretty cool. Like we figured it out to get to this point. So it's a good accomplished feeling. And real quick story, I remember again during the EOS days, I met one of the top block producers, and I remember there were two guys. I think they were from Hawaii, also, believe it or not. I think, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, dang, dude, like they're doing something right, right? Like because they were the top block producers, but like fast forward, knowing what I know now, it's like, yeah, sure, like, yes, they had to, and maybe it was different times back then, so it was harder to get on board. But I guess the moral of the story is that, we just need to believe in ourselves that we can actually go ahead and and get these validators up, and that yeah, give yourself some grace that this isn't easy. And so if you're having trouble, just like I was having trouble with Authority Manager yesterday, like it's very frustrating, and you kind of sometimes feel like you're dumb or something. But the truth is, it's like, dude, this stuff isn't easy, and maybe it's easy for some, but at the end of the day, I think the average person, like if Jack Levin wants 10,000 validators to be up and running within the year, like you can't have 10,000 geniuses that are only able to participate. Like that doesn't make sense. So we gotta, people like us, we need to get it. We need to get this working. So enough about that. All right. Tiber says, hi, Mike. Thank you very much. Yeah. All good. Cool. Yosef, yours just linked to advertise URL. Cool. All right. So it's really down to the explorers that can do whatever they want. Awesome. And who produces the blocks? Sorry, I'm just kind of making sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so the commission part, Shaka. So that's right, like if you wanted to, you could, so I could set up or let's switch it around. You set up your validator, I don't want to set up a validator, but I'm willing to delegate my stake to somebody. So, like in this case, I could delegate my stake to your validator. And the commission, whatever it's set at, is whatever is earned. So let's say it's 10%. So if because I stake to you, so let's use simple terms. Let's say like we're earning 10% a year, right? So I delegate $1,000, right, to your validator, and that earns $100. Well, if your commission is set to 10%, you're going to earn 10% on that $100, right? So like it's just a way to incentivize validators to keep running from those that are getting delegated. So yeah, hopefully I probably made that more complicated than it had to be, but I'm basically paying you 10% of whatever profit is made because I'm delegating to your validator, and you can choose what the commission is. So that we changed ours to 100% for fun. I don't think anybody would actually delegate to ours if we had 100% commission, but yeah. Great training. You are a true X1 ambassador. Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. This is all new to me. Like, I'm not going to pretend and say I'm an expert on this. I'm really not even close. Yeah, if you saw behind the scenes of me trying to set up the validator, it was comical to say the least. But thanks to the X1 Foundation for updating the documents, making it very clear. Thanks to Blackbeard X1 console to making it super easy. There's other people in the community. I wish I spent more time on the X1 Validator group because I will say there's a lot of people producing stuff that I haven't even tried with. Like I think somebody was set up like an alert system. So like we could get alerted on Telegram or maybe even our phones one day if something happens, right? Like this is just good. It's good for situational awareness. And then finally, it looks like it would be great if you made a video on how to connect a hardware wallet to the, yep. So again, that is going to happen when we do, in case you tuned in after. So the authority manager is our way to securing our validator. And we're going to ultimately going to put it on a ledger. So if somebody hacked into your server, they wouldn't be able to steal your funds because it's on your ledger. That's a bit more complicated. So I'm going to do more of a formal video of that and then publish it. And again, I'm going to just try it one more time before creating that video. All right, guys. Well, enough of me ranting. It's an hour and 23 minutes. If you guys do like this, I really appreciate you subscribing and listening in, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your weekend and happy validating. All right, guys. See ya.